Morning, everybody. It's a snowy Friday morning up here in Pittsburgh. Um, getting in my first interview of the day and the continuing series on recruiting, sports philosophies, stories, and hope that the videos are being very informative. I know they're a little long, but when you're going through your recruiting process, take a look at them and hear what everybody has to say, the coaches, clients, how they did stuff. Today, I'm happy to have Jason Curry, who's a head coach of the West Virginia Wild. It's funny from my postings in a West Virginia baseball connection. People wanted me to sit there and talk to some travel baseball coaches, and talk some baseball opinions, debate some stuff. But I met Jason this past summer while I was down on the recruiting trail and looking at prospects and actually have one of his kids now as a client who's enjoying some nice opportunities, even though it was in his senior year. So without further ado, I'm just going to introduce Jason and have him give some background and his bio. Jason, it's all you.
Thanks, Tom. I'm glad to be here today with you. Like he said, my name's Jason Curry. I'm 23 years old. I graduated from Cabell Midland High School in Ona, West Virginia in 2016. Um, since I graduated high school, I started coaching senior league baseball and then went to work for the West Virginia Power minor league team as an official scorer for a season. Following that year, I went and became a assistant coach at Cabell Midland, and then I decided that I wanted to start the West Virginia Wild Travel Baseball organization. Currently, we have just the one team right now. It's a 17U team comprised of juniors, seniors, and I've got one sophomore right now. I eventually hope to grow that into a multiple teams organization, but for the current second, we just have the one. The big reason I started this team was because when I was coaching at Cabell Midland, I saw a ton of kids in this area of Southern West Virginia that were on their high school team, that you could see when they were going through practice reps or pregame warmups that they had talent, they should be playing, but maybe they just weren't in the game for their high school for one reason or another. Um, so I wanted to start a team in order to give kids an opportunity to play that weren't necessarily getting a chance to play, even though they were on a roster. So I want to take the step forward and give those kids a chance that just didn't necessarily have a chance for whatever other reason.
That's an interesting thing, Jason. It goes into a lot of stuff. Number one, I commend you. I went down, I watched you guys play. You played some good teams. I've seen you in Charleston. I've seen you guys in Nitro and seen some of the talent that you put out on the field. One thing a lot of people will say with travel ball and organizations and all that is, yeah, they are an outlet for people that for some reason or another in high school don't get playing time or reps or anything like that. And um, Western Pennsylvania, I can remember back when I was playing, and American Legion was big. Now we have so many travel teams. I actually, at times, I will say, I do believe that because of all the travel teams, that talent and everything gets watered down, if you know what I mean, because it used to be, if you played travel ball, you were the elite of the elite, and it was by invite and everything. Now with all the travel organizations and everything, I mean, I just as got back into coaching with Rawlings Tigers Pittsburgh, who's run by the Rawlings company owned by Major League Baseball. And, you know, we have tremendous sponsorship and everything. And we have teams that are, you know, in Las Vegas, St. Louis, Cincinnati, all kind of different cities and everything like that. So, I mean, you know, we, you know, try to get the elite of the elite, especially me with my high school showcase team. You know, I have some, being that I'm up here in Pittsburgh, I have some West Virginia kids. I have kids from New York, Ohio that are all interested, and you know, it's a good thing. Talk a little bit about the Wild, to, you know, where the kids are all from, different high schools, and that, and then talk about, you know, like your schedule. What, you know, what do you do? Do you play during the week, or do you just play in weekend tournaments?
Okay, so our roster specifically this coming year is made up of kids from mainly Southern West Virginia. I've got a handful of kids from Cabell Midland High School. I've got a couple from Huntington High School. I've got 3 from St. Albans High School. And then I've got 1 from Westside High School, which is actually in Oceana, West Virginia. The schedule that I like to run is more of a weekend thing, tournament to tournament. We usually start in June, and we'll go all the way up through October. Give the kids as much chance to play. Now, you know, some don't want to play in the fall, or some want to stay and go play for their high school fall ball team, which is completely fine, because I've got a list of kids that when their travel season ends that want to continue to play in the fall, and I will start to fill those in the holes of the kids that just don't want to continue to play throughout the fall. We will play certain weekday games. It just depends on who it is, when it is, where it's at. Because weekday stuff, I don't want to make them travel like 2.5 hours up for a Wednesday game where you may play 10 innings, you may play 7 innings, whatever we end up playing. And I just don't want to do a 2.5 hour drive on a weeknight. But if I got a team, like there's a team called Diamond 9 down here, or the Huntington Hounds, which are both within like 15, 20 minutes. On a weekday, I don't care to schedule a game with either one of them. Go play, because nobody's driving terribly far out of the way to do something to that effect.
Question for you. Did you guys practice during the week?
Yes, we do practice. We have a home field. It's located out in Salt Rock, West Virginia. The field's available to me 24/7 as much as I want. So usually 2 or 3 days a week I have them out there. And right now in the wintertime, we're actually practicing once a week indoors.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw your post to where you guys are doing that, and that's great. Going to get into a question from a post. You know, you've been a coach at Cabell Midland. You know the high school route, and not, you know, now you do the travel ball thing. You know, one of the rules set down through the WVSSAC, and you know, I'm not going to get into them and the rules and everything. That could be, you know, a different subject. But you know, you couldn't coach high school and travel. Talk about how that affects, like here in Pennsylvania. I mean, you know, I've coached high school and travel and everything. One of my things is, you know what? My kids that play for me will not get involved with their travel teams. I don't go and get involved with my travel teams until my high school season ended. I just believe, my belief is that you make one commitment and you stick to it. I know a lot of people are like, well, let them play both ways. Well, as I was telling you before we got on here, I mean, it runs into things to where kids get injured, and I've had that happen. We're in the state playoffs, and you know, our second baseman and number 2 hitter sits there and breaks his ankle, and you know what? He's lost. So that also, what that does is goes back, and that, I know you're going to say, well, another kid can get to step up, but you've had that kid all year long. You have to be accountable to that team, especially when you get into that. So, I mean, my belief is, you know what? Hey, you play one or another. You do your due diligence and your research about how things are going to happen before the season, and you go from there. I mean, you make a choice. It's just like anything else in life. You have to be accountable, and I think it teaches the kids to be accountable and responsible to a team or an organization, like they're going to be when they get out in life and they get a job and everything like that. So talk a little bit about what your philosophy is on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you could coach, in both areas.
So you are correct. In West Virginia, if you are a hired coach, albeit volunteer or paid, just as long as you're hired on a high school staff, you cannot be affiliated with any travel baseball organization of the kids of the same age. So if I'm at Cabell Midland High School, I cannot have anything to do with any other high school style baseball team at all, period, end of discussion, the way the SAC has it set up.
Or high school aged kids, right? That's like
right.
14 to 18 years old.
Yeah. So like the biggest thing that I think with that is, if I'm a coach at a high school and I got a 14-year-old that's like, hey, can you come throw to me in the middle of the summer just because he needs someone to work with him? I can't go do that according to the SSAC. They do not let you do anything outside of the designated season if you're a hired coach with any kid of that age group, for albeit whatever it may be.
Do you know what the reasoning is behind that? Have they put out a thing, like a guideline, as far as why it is like it is? Because like up here in Pennsylvania, like I said, I can do both. I mean, you have college coaches that run travel organizations and everything like that. So, I mean, what they try to do is get the most qualified people to sit there and work. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is good.
So I'm under the impression that the SSAC has never directly released a statement as to why they won't let you do multiple different things with the high school age groups. My best guess, and now this is just my opinion on it, would be that they're afraid that you will focus on the travel organization as opposed to the school that actually falls in the SSAC organization. But other than that, I really don't have an answer to you on that. I've never seen them directly give a statement one way or the other.
Yeah, well, I hear you. You know what? And in the interviews I've been doing with college coaches, I've talked to them about the role and their communication with high school coaches and travel coaches. And the big thing that I get from everybody is like, you know what, high school ball is going on while the college coaches season is going on. So, the communication and all that is tough because they're each running their program and everything at the time, whereas travel ball in the summer, when coaches are, before COVID, they're out watching kids and doing this and doing that. They get to talk to the travel ball coach like that. But the one thing that they will say is the high school coach has extreme importance because they're usually a teacher or they know that kid outside of the realm of the high school program and can give you the real lowdown on character, grades, and everything. Whereas, a travel coach, it's like you said, you might have a kid coming from 2.5 hours away. I mean, me up here, I have kids coming from West Virginia to play up here for the Tigers and everything. I communicate with them. Some of them are clients of mine, and some of them are just coming to play for the baseball and everything like that. But, I would always say that the high school coach that interacts with them, gets reports from teachers that and every day. I mean, can go. So I think both of them play a role, but it's just, knowing that role. And it's, what, travel ball isn't the end. I mean, the thing is, I'm seeing the trend to where, and I hope that it doesn't happen, to where a lot of people are going to just concentrate on travel ball and try to get on elite teams and all that, and in the fall instead of playing. Yeah, I just think they're doing such a disservice, because high school ball means so much, community, everything like that, and playing for your school. And there are times that, that I know college coaches that are like, hey, you know what, he didn't even want to play for his high school team. So I mean, they get crossed off the recruiting list. It does happen. So everything needs to be looked at when making a decision. You think that's pretty much on?
I agree with you on that. See, when it comes to us, like in West Virginia this year, it's going to run through June. High school ball is
Yeah, it
with
got
the new
pushed
proposed
back.
schedule.
It got pushed back
Right.
to
And
the end
so
of June.
all my kids, yeah. So all the kids on my roster have reached out to me. They're like, "What are we going to do? Are we playing travel ball through June, or what do we need to play for our high school?" And I said, "Look, that's your call. But if I was you, I would recommend you do your high school season. Once you're done, once you're released from high school, you come back to me and we'll start playing. Same thing for fall ball. When the high schools in the area will start their fall programs up to do some fall stuff, I tell the boys, it's your decision. If you want to go play with your high school, go right ahead. Just let me know and I'll find someone else to fill the spot. And, if I don't have enough kids at all that want to do travel ball and they'd rather go with their high school, I'm okay with that too. And we can just stop once the summer's over.
Yeah,
I completely leave it up to the kids if they be
that's
at the
good,
high
and
school level or not.
that's good. And I like that you have your list of kids that you can pull from that are interested and are set for fall ball. I mean, it's a big thing now. It used to be that when you made that commitment to your team, you play and everything. Now people sit there and bring in substitutes daily and weekly for events and everything. Hey, I need 2 pitchers because what, 2 of my kids aren't playing and all that, and they go and they get from somewhere else. And I, there are times that I see it. I've played against really, really big and good organizations, to where, I mean, you're at a tournament, kid will pitch, they fly him out right there. He's a pitcher only. He's come in, he's thrown his innings and all that, and they fly people in. I mean, that's you know that's where you get to some big, really, really big time events and playing some stuff like that. But I mean, I really like what you're doing. I mean, I've seen the competition, and some of the tournaments down there that I attended, were very well run, and enjoyed watching the kids. Give me some things that you'd like to talk about as far as, travel ball and everything like that.
So the biggest thing that I see around here for travel ball is coaches thinking they own the kids that are on their roster. So I had an issue this fall where you probably noticed that my roster wasn't the same each tournament you saw me, because what have you, kids didn't want to fill in, or kids didn't want to play that weekend, or whatever they were doing. So I had a couple issues where coaches were like, I don't want you filling in with that team, but I also am not going to play this weekend. We're not playing this weekend either. So rather than let their kid come fill in for a weekend to get reps to try to improve, they told the kid, no, we don't want you to go with them. We're not playing either, so you're just going to sit at home this weekend and not play at all. In a discussion. And that was an issue I ran into. And that's something that I don't know if you've ever had to deal with that, but I don't see how that can be a benefit to kids when other coaches are looking at their kids and they're like, don't go fill in that weekend, just sit at home.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's a problem, and I can, like I said, I can see both sides of it. Summer, I mean, I want kids to play every weekend and as much as possible while they're on that travel team. I've had kids that, for some reason, if I wasn't playing, sure, I mean, I'll let them go play and everything, but yet, I can see, hey, I don't want them getting hurt and it not being on my watch or something. Little different, I think, than the high school to travel thing, the travel to travel thing. My roster, because I'm going to go and we're going to travel the country. I mean, I want 18 kids on my. I have 12 position kids and 6 pitchers only. So the 12 position kids, there's also probably 8 kids in there that are dual players. They're going to pitch and they're going to play in the field and everything like that. And it's setting it up. The one thing that I don't want is to have to sit there and go and bring in a substitute, and that's why I do the 18 person thing. The other thing is that, what I mean, people are going to get their reps, and my team's an 18U team. I'm a lot like you, Coach. You know what? I don't have all 18-year-olds. My favorite thing, and what I like to do. I mean, so many people get caught up into this. Well, they need to play 15 because that's their age group. Your age group is high school. If you're 15 years old, when you're playing in high school, you're playing those 18-year-olds and everything like that. And you know what? You don't get any better when you play down competition. And not that I'm saying everything, I'm just saying that as a whole, when you can play and learn and grow through that system and be with that coach that's teaching you that philosophy and all that for a few years, I think it's invaluable. I'll tell you one thing right now. And we're 18. I have a 15-year-old catcher from West Virginia who's a tremendous kid and is going to get a lot of playing time. And I've talked to him and his parents. I said he's going to be on a stage here with these 17 and 18-year-old really good kids from all over the country. And I said, he needs to take it and run with it. Is he going to make mistakes? Yes, he is. But he's also going to learn how to handle those mistakes, not make them again, and get better and better playing that great competition.
I completely agree. So the sophomore that I have, he's from St. Albans. He looks at me one day and he goes, I want to play for you next year. And I'm like, you realize we're 17U? He's like, well, if I want to play varsity level stuff, I need to play with the varsity age kids. And I was like, that's the answer I want to hear. I said, I'm good with that. If that's what you want to do, come play.
Parents okay with that?
That's exactly what the parents said. The dad's like, we want him to get ready so he can start varsity, and he can't get any better if he's sitting down playing JVH ball.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I get it, and we have a really, really good 15U team also that I'm sure that would love to have him, but they're really not going to miss him, and they have a great group of kids. And I talked to some of the other parents, and it's like, well, you know what, we'd like him to be with his age group. And another thing here, well, his friends play for that team. Well, you know what, if you have aspirations of going to play in college and everything, your friends aren't going to be there in college. Eventually, you know what, you're going to have to sit there and go out and meet a whole new family, learn how to interact, socialize, be part of that culture. You're going to be that 18-year-old kid going in as a freshman, and you're going to have right now. I mean, you have 23-year-olds because of the rule changes and all that the NCAA's thrown. So it's funny. I mean, I was talking with Coach Jim Chester, Gardner Webb's head coach yesterday, who's a good buddy, and he goes, yeah, he was like, man, you know what? There will be leeway, because he said, I have 23-year-old young men who have been here now. This will be their 5th year and all that, and it's like they go out and handle the culture of the team and bring the young guys up and everything like that. So I mean, I just think that having that mix of young and old teaches your older kid, bring the younger kids along. They're part of the team, and you know what? We travel, we ride and die together. I always say it. We ride and die together, and you go back to that thing. A chain's only as strong as its weakest link. So, you know, just being able to sit there and be positive and establish leadership skills, and the other part is, it lets those kids know, hey, I came through the program at a young age and learned. Now I'm the older guy that needs to take over that. So that's why I like doing it, and I really think that and I'm always going to run my thing that way. And it may cost me games because people have older and better people, but the whole thing is, as a whole, I'm going to develop a better kid, being able to play that competition, learn adversity, fight through it, get there, earn, go out and beat out that older kid to earn that playing time, and it teaches them for what's going to happen at the next level.
I completely agree with you on everything right there. The younger kids, all they can do is get better and learn from playing up. I don't think there's anything they can really do that's going to hurt them playing up.
Question for you. You said, yeah, okay, you have one team in the organization, you guys started and everything. Are you looking to build and bring in younger people and start turning it into more of that organization, to where you have the West Virginia Wild for the younger kids coming up to the older?
I would like to. The thing that kind of hampers us from doing that at the current second is, back up in our area of the state of West Virginia, there's a lot of younger teams. There's I couldn't even begin to name them all, because I know I'll forget several of them. I know at least 7 or 8 right off the top of my head, and they're all pulling kids from the same area. And if I'm starting a younger team, part of our organization as well, I'm pulling kids from the same area. And like you said, it becomes watered down after a while. You're putting things out there that can't compete or not productive, or you're using kids that just don't either want to be there, want to put the commitment in, or all the above. I mean, you'll end up with 2 or 3 kids that are real good, and the rest of them just don't put forth the kind of effort you want to see out of kids.
Sure. That's good. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Rawlings and what we do. Now we start at 9U now, and the big difference, and we have a ton of organizations, like you were saying, of the younger kids and everything like that, but their emphasis, the other organizations' emphasis, and I see it all the time. People send me their information on their 9 and 10-year-old. Hey, my 9-year-old's down in Florida playing against this and that. My philosophy and why I got into Rawlings, because it's theirs, is, and I've talked with college coaches and they agree, the emphasis at the young age needs to be on developing fundamentals, this, that, and the other, getting as many reps in. So now you have kids that are only competing on, a weekend or every other weekend, traveling the country, and well, my kid is somehow ranked as the 55th best 9-year-old player in the country. And in all seriousness, I mean, it's great and everything like that. Usually how that happens is that 9-year-old kid has developed a lot quicker than the other 9-year-olds and everything. And I always tell people, you know what? They get to be 13 and 14, start contacting me, let me see where they are then as far as getting into the recruiting process. Because I really think ideally, when I work with my kids, that's when I like to get them in and see their skill set there and where they are, and use projectables. If I'm going to take the person on as a client, and how I see them there, and projecting out from there. So I mean, nothing. I mean, there's nothing set there and all that. And what it does is, I really think, I mean, they go out and they play for these rings, and everybody gets something. My philosophy, and I may be old school, and people may disagree with me. I've played in a lot of championships, lost them, and everything else. There's, when you go to compete at those things, there's one winner. You get, granted, you get good things coming out, even when you lose and all that. But the person or team that wins, you know what? They should get that reward for that thing, and that's how I see it. I mean, if you look at Major League Baseball, you know what? Everybody, there's only going to be one team that sits there and wins that whole thing at the end. And you know what? The runner-up in the World Series, they don't get anything. I go back and I look at a video of Derek Jeter, and I played in the Red Sox organization, so I'm not the greatest Yankee fan and all that, but there's people I respect, and I'll tell you what, Derek Jeter is one of those that he came to play every day, and he went about his business the right way all the time. And I can remember he was sitting on stage doing an interview, and the guy goes, well, you lost in the World Series, but you had a great season and everything like that. And just the look that he got on his face, and he's sitting there, he goes, season wasn't a success. He said, up here, he said, you played for one prize. And, every year when we go in February and we hit spring training, here you go. I mean, it's up there on a thing. That World Series trophy is a picture, and that's what we play for. And you know what? If that's not your goal, he said, you're going about it at the wrong way. I mean, I just think that it teaches. We want to teach our kids to be the best and go for that and work for that all the time. And by rewarding them for, going out and being 1-4 in a tournament and not playing their best is just sending the wrong message. And I've seen, it was funny. I went to a softball tournament in Zanesville, Ohio, Jace, to see one of my clients. And it was fresh out of the COVID thing. And the Ohio teams and Pennsylvania teams had been playing and practicing. The West Virginia teams weren't allowed. So they kind of, got thrown together without their practices. Their team showed up and played. Well, I will tell you what, wasn't one of their best tournaments. Watching them play, you could tell the rust was there. The togetherness and all the cohesion that you get through practice and reps and game reps and everything like that. You could just tell it's like a team from the north going down south in college. The southern team's been outside, and you get out there. You're gonna have usually your first couple times. You're gonna have some rough outings, and then you see it come on. And it was so different seeing them a couple weeks later, and I'm like, wow. I said, what practice does, and what reps do, and everything, to where they started, playing up to the, and they have some extremely talented young ladies, and it was just, that first time out to everything. So I mean, like I said, there's good and bad. It's just that my philosophy and the Rawlings philosophy is, these younger kids, they're going to play in tournaments, and they're going to play in good competition around the area, but the emphasis is going to be on those weekly they do weekly practices, weekly lessons, weekly camps and clinics. That's all based on teaching the fundamentals of the game, learning how to be a teammate, a member of an organization, and the importance of that, and putting that there, and that every year, yeah, there's going to be someone there that comes and goes, but you know, um, teaching that loyalty and learning the game, to where when you get up to be that 14U and everything, hey, now it's time to travel. People at the next level are looking to see you. Get your information early, and like I said, with my recruiting thing, getting them early, and putting their information out there college wise. I'll get the thing back. Yep, coach, I have him. I will keep it. He's on the radar. I like where he is now. Let's see where he goes with it. And then, with constant updates and them getting to see them as they go through the years, it makes it an easy thing for college coaches to judge them, because they have their whole story of them growing up, and growing up maturity-wise, playing-wise, grade-wise, all in front of them. Sorry, I got on a tangent there.
Oh, you're good. So I see what you're saying. I completely agree with that. The biggest thing is, and the one thing I emphasize with my high school kids, on top of playing for that championship, I really push development. I tell them every time we get in there, you've got to develop. You've got to develop. If you're not getting any better from the time I get you to the time our season ends, then no matter how many championships you won or what you may have hit 360, I said that's still a bad year. You have to improve. So, because we've all got something to improve on.
Yep. Work ethic, going about it the right way, hitting your, if you're that high school age kid, hitting your weights, doing your conditioning, stretching. I don't. It's a lost art nowadays, but I'm like, to all my clients, I'm like, you need to stretch in the morning, you need to stretch at night. Flexibility plays a major part in how you perform, and also, for injuries and everything. And I always throw a little thing out there. I said, have you ever been to a major league game? Yeah, I have. I said, yeah, you get there early because you're watching everything before. I said, what are the players doing on the field? Well, they take batting practice. Some will shag, some will do this. And, about a half hour before the game, you see them come out on the field and start going through some running calisthenics, and the trainers will be out. There's people that stretch on their own. There's people that have people that put them through a stretching routine. I said, what you don't see is they've been in there since they went in, and they've been stretching for a half hour before getting out on the field and going through that. And I said, it's something they do day in, day out. It's part of their program. It's part of their daily regime, to where they do that, to be able to play at the level that they do. And trying to get people into this thing, there's people that do it. There's people that take shortcuts, and you usually can tell.
You're absolutely right. See, we picked up a kid from he decided he didn't want to continue with the organization he was in, reached out to us and asked if we would take him. Well, I tried him out. We decided to take him, but you can just see the more I've gotten around him, you can just see how much effort he had been putting in, which was the lack of effort. He just wasn't, somebody somewhere wasn't pushing him forward to do the extra things. Well, I got him in one day. We were hitting, and he started hitting ground balls. This is the big, like 6'5", 300. That means it's a 6'5", 210-pound kid, 220 pounds. He should be hitting the ball on a line somewhere, sitting it hard. Well, he's rolling over a bunch of ground balls and looks like he's just wore out. And I was like, you can't be lazy. I was like, at this level, the first time you take a lazy swing is the first time that everybody in the building knows that you're a lazy kid. I said, you have your first at bat needs to have the same quality as your seventh at bat. And
Goes to approach. Goes to the approach.
You're exactly right. But so there's several kids that you just see out there that whether the organization they're at may not have been the right fit, or somebody just wasn't pushing them right for whatever reason. And that's what you're talking about right there, needing to stretch, needing to do extra things. And you can just see it. All kinds of kids out there. The second I get with him, I'm like, you can tell he's not doing this, or he wasn't out in the weight room, or somebody wasn't pushing him to stretch. Somebody wasn't pushing him to put that extra effort in or take that next step forward.
Exactly. And we see it all the time. And like I said, I mean, from being down there and watching you this year, I really, really enjoy, I will mention his name, Spencer, the catcher that, I talked with his parents down there, gave them information on what I do. And, we went over, what his options were at the time and everything to what they are now. I mean, it's probably an entirely different ballgame. He was almost signed, sealed, and delivered to a program, a program where he didn't even know if he could play. It was just a really good fit for him college-wise, to where now he has, probably 5 or 6 good people that are really interested in him and are really good schools. And he's gonna have to sit there and weigh the pros and cons. But the one thing that I like about him is he's a worker, he's a great student, and he's a great kid. And you know what? Those are the type of people that I can really help on, as far as contacts across the nation and finding a place to play, because everybody, on a daily basis, it's Tom, arms, this, that, and the other. I mean, just yesterday, Slippery Rock, which is a very good school up here in the PSAC Division II. I mean, we're posting now, hey, you know what, we're looking for people in the spring of 2020, and we're getting ready to roll here in 2 weeks. So it's definitely a rough period with COVID and everything, and with the extra eligibility rules that the NCAA, the NJCAA, which is the junior colleges, given extra year, or you're playing and the year of eligibility won't count against you, has definitely set rosters back. You have older kids that are money players that are coming back to where they'd have been gone, and the money's not there for the younger kids in some circumstances. I mean, I'm dealing with an issue now, which is a good one. And I was telling you, I was sending emails. Very awesome soccer player from up here who was set to commit to a Division I school, and the Division I school said, you know what, we have all of our seniors that are coming back. We have no money or roster spots. So, I mean, get set back right there. So, I mean, her coaches, myself, and another recruiting advisor I know who was a college soccer coach. I mean, hey, I'm getting you involved. I mean, I know that you know people. Let's find a place for this young lady. So it's always busy and everything. And I just want to end up and commend you. I enjoyed coming down, watching your teams and all that. I know that you'll send me a schedule. You have kids that want to play, Jason, that you project out there to having the skill set academically and athletically. I mean, hey, send them my way. I'll be happy to sit there and talk with you and evaluate. And if we think that it's the right thing, let's get their information out there. Because the one thing that I always say about West Virginia, and it was funny when I took this job with Student Athlete World. I did it. Paid for the rights for Western PA, Ohio, and I was talked about West Virginia, and nobody was actually working. I said, my president and I were talking. Yeah, Tom. I mean, you played there, you've coached there, recruited there for college, and I'm like, there's so much untapped ability in that state, football wise. But I will tell you what, especially baseball wise, and one of the big things when getting into this was. And I'm talking to coaches from across the nation. It's like, Tom, you know what? We don't go in to recruit, because if the young men or the young ladies don't go to WVU or Marshall, then what they do is they want to stay in state. Well, there's a whole world outside of the state of West Virginia. And now, we have a lot of West Virginia kids that I've worked with getting looks from across the country and options and everything like that. And so, I mean, that's what it's about, is being able to open up all the avenues that are possible out there for the young men and ladies of the state of West Virginia. And I commend you on putting your work in and starting the Wild and getting them going. And anything that I can do to help you, Coach, you know my number. You know how to get in touch with me. Anything you want to end
Really
up on?
appreciate that. Not really, other than I really appreciate the time you gave us today. I'll definitely get in touch with you. I've got several kids right now that are wanting to go next level, that have the grades to go next level, that I'd like to just get your opinion on it with me.
Absolutely. You send me some stuff, and we shall go from there.
All right, I'll get some stuff put together and I'll get it sent out to you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Jason. I appreciate it, and if I don't talk to you, you have a Merry Christmas, you and your family, and keep working